Marcel Swiley in the building. Emmanuel Acho.
My dog.
Today.
No tie kind of day.
No tie kind of day? No color either kind of day. What is it?
Chill out.
Is that
Chill out.
Fake? Opaque? I don't know what's going on. But we're here for the next 2 hours with you, so get comfortable and let's get it started with the Lakers, who were trying to go up 3-0 in their series. But the Nuggets didn't get that memo. Denver had a 20-point lead early in the fourth quarter. The Lakers stormed back behind LeBron's triple-double and cut it to 3. But in the end, there was just too much Jamal Murray, who finished with 28 points in the win. Despite the loss, Anthony Davis said, quote, "We're still up 2-1. We have control of the series." So, Acho, are the Lakers in trouble after losing Game 3?
Not at all. This is basketball. This is what y'all told me.
Do I get anything unexpected from
this
you?
is what you told me. This is basketball. You got to win 4 games. The Nuggets won 1. They're a 3 seed. Congratulations. You should win 1 game. I'm happy for them, in all honesty. It makes today's show a little bit better.
Yeah,
it makes the game of basketball
not better.
a little bit more exciting. And in all honesty, it adds a little more value to the championship that LeBron James is likely to win.
Oh,
because
the asterisk?
No, because now it makes it seem as though the Nuggets are more competitive. Had LeBron swept them, everybody would have said it's too easy. At least now people can say, oh, it's a little bit more of a challenge. I'm not at all worried. LeBron has been here before. 4 times, mind you, in the conference finals. 2012, they go up 2-0 against the Celtics. The Celtics come storming back. LeBron has to win in 7. 2015, they go up 2-0 against the Hawks. They win in 4. That's that look. LeBron hasn't even had to pull out that look yet. That Game 6 in 2012 look, he pulled out against the Celtics 45-15-5. So when LeBron has to pull out that look, that's when I'll be nervous. But I'm not nervous right now, Marcellus. The Nuggets won a game. Good for them. You're supposed to win a game. LeBron and AD, when they combine for 55 points, they have lost 5 times on the season. When they combine for 55, when they combine for 55 points, they win 5 out of every 6 games. That means you're going to lose 1 out of every 6. This is the one. I'm not worried. In fact, I'm happy. I'm happy it happened because it gives you something to talk about because you weren't going to have any ammo. At least it gave you 1 bullet. Shoot the 1 bullet that you have.
Shoot the 1 bullet?
Please, go ahead, sir.
Oh, you want to play Russian roulette with me? You sure about that? It ain't going to be Russian roulette. It's going to be a pow. What happened to Acho? Okay, let me just talk to you from my pain.
Talk to me.
I'm going to talk to you from my scars. I've been here before, and I've heard someone else on this set say things like, "Oh, big dog, you know what? It's just 1 game. It's okay." You show me old vintage LeBron footage of his doing eye rolls from 2015. Yeah, LeBron has been here before, but so have the Nuggets, and I don't need vintage footage to tell you that this Nuggets team, how dare you not stomp them and stomp them out into the grave, because if you give them any signs of life, they will take full advantage of it. I told you yesterday, this team has been in 4 playoff series the last 2 years where they've been down, and all of a sudden find themselves either winning that series or at least taking the lead in that series, including 2 this year, where they were down 3-1, and then you say it's just 1 game. You look up, and it's not going to be just 1 game. Let's be real about this.
Be real.
Jamal Murray went out there and said the same thing AD said, quote, "We feel that we should be up 2-1 right now, to be honest, so we're just going to move on to Game 4. That's what Jamal Murray said. But being real, they outplayed the Lakers, not just yesterday, but in the game buzzer beater game as well.
That's what he gonna do, man.
So no, I'm not even gonna go because I don't like Fantasy Island like you tattoo. I don't like to go there.
I'm not there.
But if you look at it, the Lakers are trending in the wrong direction. We got to be respectful to the facts. Win by 12, then win in the buzzer beater, and then lose by 8. And haven't figured out Jokic, and now Jamal Murray has been unlocked. I don't know. I've seen this movie before, and it's been recent history. Not 2015 eye rolls, but recent history. Be careful.
Marcellus, you saw this movie with a much worse director, with a much worse lead actor, with a much worse supporting cast.
Oh, no.
The Clippers,
don't go there on that deep team.
The Clippers
don't you do that.
The Clippers, Marcellus, movie that you saw was a low-budget film.
Okay.
I'm trying to show you a Oscar-nominated actor in LeBron James. I'm trying to show you a different type of film. Don't talk to me about these low-budget film clippers that you watch. Let me give you some facts. Let me give you something that you can chew on, that you can digest. Again, LeBron James, he's on his 23rd series when he's been up 2-0. This is his 23rd one. The last 22 times, he's closed it out.
Okay.
22
So
consecutive times. Okay. I'm not even saying he's not scared. What I'm saying is bump LeBron's feelings. I'm just going to talk stats. Marcellus, if you were to do anything 22 consecutive times, then you know what's going to happen on the 23rd one? I'm going to bet on you.
You should bet on me.
Because
might lose your money, though.
Maybe, but it's not likely because history has told me the first time Marcellus didn't let me down. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th. To the 22nd time, Marcellus has never let me down. So why would I think you're going to do that now? And the other thing is this. LeBron, no matter how much people wanted to make Kawhi LeBron James, Kawhi's not LeBron James. No matter how much people wanted to make Paul George and say that Paul George is back, PG ain't AD. And so people just have to put respect on the fact that the Nuggets are a good team. They're a 3 seed for the reason. The Nuggets have the third best record over the last 2 years cumulatively. They're top tier. They're top tier. But the Nuggets are not the Lakers. The Lakers are not the Clippers. And we just have to make sure we keep that in context. The Nuggets won a game. You should win a game. I thought the Lakers were going to win in 5. So this is not surprising to me.
Oh, wow. But the Lakers have been outplayed at least the last 5 quarters. You have a stretch in the fourth quarter yesterday, but if you say in totality, obviously it's been 5 straight quarters. Here's the thing. LeBron James, you keep bringing up all his historical statistics.
Absolutely.
The same time when I bring up Tom Brady's yesterday, you want to just... you want to always diminish and undermine Tom Brady's past success, but you want to give LeBron all his credit. I can play the show different every day. I can do it with you. But this is what is discouraging about this. LeBron James, after the game, LeBron James, the king, the highest IQ on the court, highest IQ maybe in the game ever, comes out and says, you know what? Too many turnovers. And then, most people take that at face value because you trust in the king. Not me. You know me. Facts over feelings. Wait a minute, LeBron. LeBron, you guys won a game where you had more turnovers in game 2, 23. And then this game, you actually have fewer turnovers than the Nuggets, 16-18, but you lose that game. It sounds like the king took a punch and doesn't even know which way is up right now. And then let's talk about being real. A big team like the Lakers, they got their 4 bigs out there and they played in rotation. How you get out-rebounded by 19?
But that's my point.
How you get... What point
my point is this.
I hear that point.
My point is this, because I didn't get there. You got there for me. Thank you, sir. There's an outlier, Marcellus.
Outlier?
Like, in the Lakers, the first game, 48 rebounds, 48 rebounds. Okay. Lakers, the second game, out-rebound the Nuggets by 6. I didn't play in the NBA. I played a little bit of low-level ball in high school. But anybody knows... Rebounding is want to. It's kind of like tackling.
They didn't want to win. They didn't want to win. That's Acho's take.
The Nuggets wanted it more. LeBron said that. Jamal Murray said that. Malone said that. Everybody. Shaq, Kenny the Jet, Chuck, everybody with eyeballs said that.
Okay.
They said that the Nuggets wanted it more. And so LeBron James, yes, he admitted, like, hey, we didn't want this. We weren't as hungry as they did. Frank Vogel in the third quarter during the timeout with the audio said, this team wants it more than we do right now. We have to fix that. The Lakers let up. Yes, they did. There was an outlier.
Yes, too.
But game three was an outlier. I'm not worried about one outlier dictating the entire course of the game.
And next time, don't say I'm stealing your points when you get to them so late. Kind of like AD to his first rebound, fourth quarter, 4:36 left in the game.
Bro.
Get to your points first and get it to him early. Now, let's get to somebody who we know knows a thing or two about. LeBron James, his former teammate, Fox NBA analyst Tristan Thompson. So, Tristan, are the Lakers in trouble after losing game 3?
Tristan, what are you wearing, sir? What is that?
I know what that is.
You like my shirt?
You gonna give it to
my man Jack McLean made this shirt for me. Made it for me, hooked me up. It's like it's like a Tommy Bahama feel. I like it. Look good. I know Marcellus, you gonna rip it up. I know old school don't like it.
All I gotta say, if the Lakers keep losing, you're gonna give that to LeBron when he go to Cancun, because that's a Cancun-looking shirt, big dog. But keep it going.
Go ahead, Tristan. Go ahead.
No, I was saying, no, the Lakers not in trouble. I mean, look, it's the Western Conference Finals. Denver's been battle-tested. They've went to 2 Game 7s. LeBron, the Lakers, they know that it was not going to be a cakewalk 4-0. I mean, we got to respect this Denver ball club, man. What they have done, they took out Marcellus' Clippers and had Marcellus gain 10 pounds in and out. So we know this team is battle-tested, and I know I've been down 0-2, and it was actually against the Celtics in 2017. We went down 0-2. I know one thing for sure is that those Nuggets, when they came in that locker room for Game 3, they approached that game as a Game 7 because the last thing you want to do is go down 0-3 against any ball club because that's a mountain that I don't want to climb. So I've been in that position before, so they treated this game like it was a Game 7. Mike Malone made his adjustments, and now it's on Frank Vogel. Him and his coaching staff, they got to look at the film and look at how can they make their adjustments.
Tristan, let me ask you this, because I've always wondered, and although there's a lot of carryover in certain sports, but I don't know if there's carryover in basketball. If the Lakers are up 2-0, and we know, hey, Lakers, go ahead and win this game, go ahead and really essentially close this thing out, how is it that the Nuggets can want it more, even though you have a championship potential on the line? How is it that the Nuggets can go out there and want it more than the Lakers? Even though obviously the Lakers are up 2-0, but there's still so much on the line. Take me in that mindset.
Yeah, I'm crazy you say that, because I remember, so we're playing Toronto, we're up 2-0, we beat them by 40 both times. Bloop, bloop, slap them up. We go to Toronto, and we think, okay, we got 2 more games at Toronto, and shoot, we try to think about, like, if we could stay and kick it. We want to kick it in Toronto. We beat them 4-0. What do we do? We let up. It's just a mental thing. We let up a little bit, then they beat us. They beat us in game 3. We're like, okay, we're all right. We'll do this in 5 games. What happens again on that Sunday afternoon in Toronto? Beat us again, 2-0. It's just a mental thing where it's like.
So are you worried at that point? At the point in which now are you like, honestly, are they better than us?
No, never worried at all. It was more just, we just got to take the game serious. Don't mess around the game. And I think in all sports, it's like when you mess around the game, it come and bite you in the butt. So I think for the Lakers, they took their foot off the gas a little bit. They said, you know, we're up 2-0. Maybe these guys are in the locker room, in Denver Nuggets locker room, like, man, we did a 7-game series twice. We play against this Laker team, LeBron. Maybe we should just give up, man. We had a hell of a run. We're doing big things. This is great. Our organizations will be happy. But no, you see that Mike Malone team, they're like, no, we keep the foot on the gas. So I think the Lakers let up. But I think the key for the Lakers is how can they neutralize the role players. I think whether it's Jeremy Grant, Michael Porter Jr., or Paul Millsap, whenever those guys have big games, Denver's a whole different team. Because if you look at this, look at Jamal Murray, barbecue and chicken Caruso. You know, that shout out the boy from Kitchener, Ontario, doing big things, by the way. But if you look at it, then you got to figure out Jamal Murray and Jokic are going to get their bucks. There's nothing you can do about it. Look, he shot from 40 feet. It's like some Steph Curry stuff. There's nothing you can do about it. The question is, how can you neutralize their third star in the game? And that's what Frank Vogel's got to figure out, because I think if the stats is right, when Jeremy Grant got over 13 points, they're 5-0. So that's one guy you gotta tame him and keep him down.
You're making my point, and I thank you for that, Tristan. Yes, he did, because you talk about that third star, and that third star for the Lakers was supposed to be Kyle Kuzma, who's a -14 in this series, getting outplayed by Michael Porter Jr. And when you talk about having multiple guys off the bench, you have more confidence in what's coming off of Denver's bench in this series than you do off the Lakers bench. I heard my man Acho talk about he didn't know about the carryover in the sport of basketball versus other sports. Well, I do. And I learned this the hard way just watching the series against the Clippers and watching Denver play against the Utah Jazz. Here's carryover. I keep telling you guys about the psychological scoreboard. Tristan just called it momentum, or you just take your foot off the gas. But Uncle Mo is a real relative of all sports teams. And Uncle Mo decides where he wants to live based on what's going on in the game. And between the ears right now, the Denver Nuggets have put themselves in the same position they did in their first series and the second series. Think about this, guys. They're down 2-0. And they're like, look, if we lose, we're down 3-0. We know that no one comes back from 3-0. But now they're in a 2-1 situation. Even if they lose game 4, they're back to the same place that they've been the last 2 series where they found themselves victorious. This is a bad recipe for the Lakers. When the Lakers walk in after game 2, you know what they saw on the whiteboard? Frank Vogel said?
A win.
He said a win, and we dodged a bullet.
They did.
And then the next game, you go out there knowing that you just got shot at. You go all of a sudden say, I take my foot off the gas, or you did put your foot on the gas. It's just right now, the car that they're in is just a little faster than yours.
Here's my issue, Marcellus. Yes, game 2. We all know they dodged a bullet. Bam, bam. They bobbed and weaved it. They got clipped in game 3. That's fine. That was ducking like Trent ducking.
Clipped. They were down 20, the most they've been down in any series. That's not clipped.
Here's the difference.
Right here.
Marcellus, you are banking on the Denver Nuggets to do something you've seen them do twice in the last 2 weeks. I am banking on LeBron James to do something we've seen him do 22 times in the last 2 decades.
You know.
This is apples to oranges. Like, this isn't even a conversation, bro.
Momentum has an energy with it, and I would take the newer energy than the old dated energy with different teams.
There's not even
teammates.
data.
It's the same.
You're running with you're running with emotions.
No,
you're running with emotions. You're running with a limited sample size, limited data.
Be real.
I'm being real.
I'm using the data of this team, the Denver Nuggets, 2020. You're giving me Miami Heat, Cleveland LeBron. You're giving me LeBron in free agency. You ain't giving me this LeBron on this Lakers squad.
Is there any fear? Because you've been with LeBron. You've seen him. I was in Cleveland, Tristan. My rookie year, it was his second year in Cleveland when I was drafted to the Browns. And you told me, and in our conversations, there's a different energy when LeBron James shows up and galvanizes a team, Marcellus. It doesn't matter what LeBron team I'm talking about. LeBron
showed up last night. He had a triple-double. Y'all wasted his 30-point triple-double. Don't act like this is on LeBron. I said the Lakers are in trouble.
Why is there no fear, Tristan? Why is there no fear?
No, there's no fear. There's no fear. It's even I think about this Denver team, and it reminds me so much of the Celtics that we played when they had Jaylen Brown, Tatum, and they were just younger, but they had Terry Rozier. They were stacked. I remember that team.
Yeah.
And on paper, I think it's very similar to what Marcel said. You say, you got K-Love and LeBron, and then probably the next 6 players are probably people who pick on the Celtics, Jay Crowder, who knows, Isaiah Thomas. You pick on any of those guys, right? But at the end of the day, LeBron and AD, when they play at a high level, and especially LeBron, because LeBron's the type of player where when he plays at a high level, everyone else plays better. Where like they're those 2 top dogs, when they play at a high level and get everyone else to play, it don't matter who the other 5 is. And that's one thing that I always remember T. Lue used to tell us. It says, all these teams during the season, they want to play this system basketball with 5 guys all touch the ball and all feel good. But shoot, in the playoffs, if you got the dogs and you got the 2 best players on the court, they ain't nothing to talk about.
That's it.
We're going to handle business.
That's it.
So that's what I think is going on right now. And it feels like I've seen this movie before, and it usually comes with 23 on top.
Oh.
So
it does.
Me and Tristan have seen the same movie in the conference finals. It does.
I've seen this movie.
In the conference finals. It does.
Yeah. Why are you trying to give me these indicators?
Me and you, Tristan, have seen the same movie. Me and Tristan were going to the nice theaters.
Y'all buddies now.
No. We were going to the nice theaters. They kick back. They bring you your food. You can order there. They bring you drinks. Marcellus was at them ratchet theaters. Marcellus was at them low-budget theaters. Where the movie, he watching the movie and somebody's walking through the frame. Like, Marcellus watching the bootlegs, and the bootlegs is the Clippers. Okay? Me and you were watching the actual HD movies with LeBron James, starring LeBron James. Here's the thing, Marcellus, and you know this, because I'm going to talk a little Columbia, I'm going to talk a little education. We do so many shows, I forget if I mentioned this yesterday, but if so, I'm going to mention it again.
My dog.
Newton's laws, Marcellus. What's that first law?
Huh?
What's that first law?
Man, it's been a long time since I've been in school.
An object in motion will stay in motion unless it's acted upon by an outside force. The Lakers and LeBron James are in motion to the NBA Finals, to LeBron's 4th chip. They are in motion, and they are going to stay in motion. They are not worried about the Denver Nuggets to give them a little peek. That's all it is. A little peek, a little boop, a little pop. That's it, Marcellus.
What?
They are in motion to a chip, sir.
Yeah.
The Nuggets are not enough of a force to deviate that motion that the Lakers are en route to. So stop banking and hoping on a prayer. If you need a penny to throw into a wishing well, I got you after the show. You know that's all I'm good for is these pennies. You got the $100 bill. But go ahead and throw that penny into the well and hope for the best. You along with the rest.
Okay, well, you got a dusty Bentley and some penny loafers on. So, all right, everybody in America knows what you're really living like. Here's the thing, man. Stop giving me these old-ass stats of LeBron when Newton was alive, and that's what you keep trying to feed to me. And y'all making me take shots at LeBron. This is not a LeBron segment. This is a Lakers segment. And Tristan is saying that you know how everyone feels better and plays their best when LeBron plays his best. He played well last night, 30-point triple-double. He's having historic numbers. And guess what? They lost. Just like LeBron went on the biggest stage. And I hate to say this, but I got to be a fact teller. He has lost more than he's won on the biggest stage. Y'all know that his finals record is 3-6. I am not going to discount the fact that he's got there. But stop acting like it always ends well. The movie theater you guys go to always shows the best movies. Sometimes y'all walk out of there crying. Actually, more times than not.
Tristan, I got a question.
Just be real.
Just be real. Is Jokic Kevin Durant?
What that got to do with
it? Is Jamal Murray, Steph Curry in his prime?
He's more clutch in clutch moments right now.
Jeremy Grant, Klay Thompson. Marcellus, stop.
What about Dirk? What about Dirk? What about Dirk?
Talking about.
Can Jokic and Jamal Murray add up to one Dirk and the headband man, Jason Terry?
Dirk's a
Yes,
top 15
they
player.
can.
You're talking about Jokic right now in the same breath as Dirk. I can't even. Tristan, I can't even.
I added them
Lord
up.
have mercy.
All I said was
Lord
add
have
them
mercy.
up.
It's hot.
Please give me one more of
It's
those
hot.
pennies to throw into this wishing well, because right now, I'm wishing I'm right, but right now, we're going to have to see it play out, guys. Coming up at the top of the hour, we're not done with the Lakers. Oh, here we go. We'll tell you if LeBron and AD need more help to get to the finals. But first, it's the matchup of MVPs on Monday night. We'll tell you if we build a team around Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson. That's going to be fire. Next, speak for yourself.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself, presented by Hyundai. Let's move to Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes, the NFL's last two MVPs. They have a highly anticipated matchup in Baltimore on Monday night. Lamar is a very impressive 21-1, my God, in the regular season as a starter. But he's 0-2 against Mahomes and them Chiefs.
Yeah.
Joined by LeVar Arrington, NFL analyst. But Marcellus, it's your turn, bro. Which quarterback would you rather build around, Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson?
Lamar Jackson. Now, I understand what the stigma is. I understand what the reputation is, and I'm here to poke holes at all of that and show you that perception is not reality. Let's look at this situation, and I'm going to be mature up here. I'm not going to act like Acho up here right now. You know, I'm not going to instigate. I'm not going to force these rivalries together, because it's really for the media and fans. As Lamar Jackson even said, I don't really care for rivalries. I'm thinking of the other defense, not the other quarterback. But we're doing a television show, so let's have some TV. All right. If you look at Lamar Jackson, you got to break down this position several ways. One, let's talk about the mobility, or them as a runner, them as a passer, and them as a winner. I mean, just generalize, those are the three categories I like to focus on. As a runner, it's not even close. Like, what are we talking about? This might be the most electric quarterback running the football in terms of mobility we've ever seen. So it's not even close. Now let's talk about him as a passer. And that's where I say looks are deceiving. I know a lot of people out there are saying, Patrick Mahomes, he's the best passer we've ever seen. Forget about now, we've ever seen. Except right now, if you look at who has the higher touchdown percentage, it's not Patrick Mahomes. It's actually, Lamar Jackson. But a lot of people are like, oh, Marcellus, you over here cooking books. I don't have to cook. I'm going to show you guys what the full screen king is all about. Here is a Raven that can fly in any weather.
My God.
I'm talking about clean pocket numbers and then under pressure. Let's talk about all the conditions you have to play at the quarterback position. Clean pocket numbers. Most people would think if you give a clean pocket and protection to Patrick Mahomes, he going to light up the world. He does. Except Lamar Jackson does it even better in both years. Now you say under pressure, oh, that's going to play into the strong suits of Lamar Jackson. And you know what? You're right, because Lamar Jackson is better than Patrick Mahomes in both situations. So all you can say to me is winner. And I understand winning matters. But when you get into the winning conversation, you're starting to incorporate team achievement, team awards, because to go into a Super Bowl, it's going to take the team, not a hurt running back like Mark Ingram was last year. So in the team award, I understand where you want to give the nod to Patrick Mahomes, but be careful, people. Because last year, we saw Patrick Mahomes in the biggest win a Super Bowl, get outplayed by Jimmy G for three quarters, have a 78 passer rating, and throw as many interceptions as he did touchdowns. So for my money, because looks are deceiving, by the real numbers, I'm going with Lamar Jackson.
Marcellus, you owe me 4 minutes of my life back.
I'll give it back.
You owe me 4 minutes of my life.
I'm not done with you.
Hey, give him back, Marcellus.
I ain't done with him. I owe 4 minutes and a penny from the last segment. And a penny.
Help him out. Help him out, man.
When Marcellus puts on his scuba diving goggles, he takes his oxygen tank and he goes searching for statistics. Like, oh my God, I can't find statistics on the surface. So let me.
I got sir.
Let me go find these statistics.
wow.
Marcellus,
Yeah.
let's talk.
Yeah.
Let's talk.
Yeah.
Don't even got to talk numbers. Both the arm and the legs are depreciating assets. Both your arm and your legs, because of physical abilities, they're depreciating assets. We've seen the arm be a depreciating asset with Drew Brees, and we know that legs are depreciating assets. This isn't a debate. It's just a fact. Okay. Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, I think that they are both relatively equal. If I had to build a franchise, I'd say, you know what? If they're both 100, that's fine. We can label that as such. But one has a depreciating asset that weighs more into him being 100. One has a depreciating asset that factors more into his greatness. Marcellus, right now I'm house hunting. And as I drive through Los Angeles, I've seen two houses that I love.
You love them?
Two, oh, I love them, Marcellus. These LA houses different than them Texas houses.
Hamburger.
And so, but one house has a nicer exterior than the interior. And one house has a nicer interior than the exterior. The problem with the house that has a nicer exterior, although I love it just as much as I love the other house, the exterior is exposed to the elements. So the exterior is going to depreciate a little bit faster than that house that has a nicer interior.
Which one
and
you buy,
that's the same thing with Patrick Mahomes versus Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
Lamar Jackson is that house that's beautiful on the exterior. I love them both equally. But if you're making me make a decision, the house with that nicer exterior, it's exposed to the elements. Lamar Jackson is exposed to the elements of linebackers, of defensive ends, of defensive tackles, and those elements will make Lamar Jackson depreciate faster. Now, they are both 100 right now. But if you're making me pick and build my franchise around one, I'm going with Patrick Mahomes because now a few statistics on my first lap.
I thought you didn't want to go stats.
Just a few. I'm gonna button it up. I'm gonna button it up. Let me swim with Marcellus.
Come on, go ahead and get him, man.
Patrick Mahomes, he has more touchdowns a game than Lamar Jackson, 2.5 to 1.9. Patrick Mahomes has more passing yards a game than Lamar Jackson, 300 to 196. Patrick Mahomes has more total yards a game than Lamar Jackson, 317 to 275. So that's my first lap. My first lap, I put you under. My second lap, I'm going to go ahead and shovel some dirt on top. Go ahead, LeBron.
Oh, man. Well, I'm going with Patrick Mahomes on this one. I think it's a no-brainer if you're looking at it from a critical standpoint. And those two categories that I look at that are very important to winning a game as a head coach. What's the rule of thumb? You've used it plenty of times, Marcellus. What do you have to win in order to win a game? The what battle?
Turnover.
Yes, that's correct. So in the turnovers category, we got Lamar Jackson with 9 career interceptions, while we had Patrick Mahomes with 18. Now, that's a lot of turnovers, and you would look at Pat Mahomes and say that's too many. But let's add this to the equation. When we're talking total touchdowns, Lamar Jackson, in the same amount of time, 3-year period of time, because Patrick Mahomes did play his rookie year, and one of his touchdowns was his rookie year, so we won't count his rookie year. But touchdowns, 46 for Lamar Jackson and 81 for one Patrick Mahomes. It's not even close. So if you do the ratio between turnovers to touchdowns, Patrick Mahomes is in a whole nother stratosphere, even from Lamar Jackson. So to me, I'm going with the turnover ratio and the scoring percentage, which is by far on the side of Patrick Mahomes to win games.
Man, that was a great spiel right there from a head coach that has a 13-10 record. So you know what,
13-10.
You high school head coach.
I'm three games above water, baby. 3 games above water.
Yeah, about 3 games more and you out of there. All right, here's the thing. This is a conversation. I hate when I get caught up in YouTube clips and people be like, damn, Marcellus, you went hard. Let me reset this.
Reset it.
This is one of those drafts where if I'm drafting number 2, I'm happy, actually, because I'm like, whoever y'all don't pick, I got that one. I love Patrick Mahomes to the fullest. However, I love Lamar Jackson plus a little more than Patrick Mahomes. Let me give it to you. And let's use Acho's example first as he's going through this Los Angeles community house hunting. And I know his budget, so it's pretty tough to get.
I'm trying to be in your neighborhood.
You got champagne taste, but
I'm trying to be in your neighborhood.
you got liquor store money. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. I know what he's talking about. Exposed to the elements is one of the quotes I heard. I wonder who's been more injury prone in their NFL short career. The one exposed.
Yeah, but that's not much.
Now we're going to argue with facts. You know Lamar Jackson's only missed 1 game since college. 1 game. And he's been exposed to the elements. It's been raining and thunderstorms, and he still is durable. More durable than Patrick Mahomes, whatever that means to you guys. Let's talk about the fact that he wants to bring statistics up when they help him, but they actually hurt him. He said, you got to go deep diving for some numbers. No, I don't. I could go 2 places. Let's go with easy counting numbers. I wonder, do I want a quarterback this year that's 12th in passer rating or 2nd? Do I want a quarterback that's 22nd in completion percentage or second? Do I want a quarterback that's 27th in passing yards per attempt, your favorite stat, or first? Oh, I think I want the one that's first, second, and that's Lamar Jackson, not Patrick Mahomes. Now, here's the hot take, and I hate to do this, but it could be a hot take. Patrick Mahomes went out there and had 50 touchdowns, right? A few years ago, and had an MVP season. Last year, because of injury, lessened in terms of numbers and availability. But he wins the Super Bowl, even though he didn't play that well in the Super Bowl.
How many times was he injured, Marcellus?
He was injured last year. And
how many times?
Once. One time.
One.
He injured, yeah, but he missed several games. So here's the thing. His numbers decrease, and I give you a pass on that. He goes to the Super Bowl, they win. He has 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 78 rating. That's not Patrick Mahomes. But they win a Super Bowl MVP. But now this year, I just told you, this guy is 12th in passer rating, 22nd completion percentage, 27th in yards attempt, 18th in yards per game. There is an argument to say that we saw the best Patrick Mahomes 2 years ago. Last year, injury, not as good. And this year, off to a slow start. Playing in Houston, Texas is one of those games, y'all. Let's not act like they had the most formidable opponents. With that said, I am whispering, not yelling, that maybe Patrick Mahomes is not living up to what Patrick Mahomes was even 2 years ago.
Nobody clipped that off, Marcellus, because they're going to use that clip, okay, on Patrick Mahomes' highlight.
Meanwhile, Lamar Jackson has improved.
They're going to use that clip to commit you to a mental hospital.
Exactly. Meanwhile, Lamar Jackson has improved every year. Just
Your Honor, what are the charges?
That man a prescription.
Here's all I'm going to say, and here's how I'm going to close this. Lamar Jackson's a phenomenal quarterback. We all know that. To debate that would be ludicrous. But here's what we also know. History is not on the side of Lamar Jackson. In NFL history, 13 QBs has rushed over 600 yards in a season. Of those 13 QBs, 1 has won a Super Bowl. The man was Russell Wilson. But we all know the Super Bowl Russell Wilson won, he was carried to winning. Even Russell Wilson would probably, to a degree, admit that. So Lamar Jackson is great. But Lamar Jackson has to not only be great, Lamar Jackson also has to transcend statistical history and empirical data. I'm not worried about Lamar Jackson being great. What I'm worried about is Lamar Jackson winning a Super Bowl. We've already seen Patrick Mahomes do this in his 3rd real meaningful year in NFL football.
Come on.
If we're just putting a point out there, Lamar Jackson's great, but is he great enough to win the chip? Because history tells us that that is a tall feat for quarterbacks that run the ball as well as he does, whether it's coincidence or not. Whether it's coincidence or not, the data just shows that's the tall feat.
Well, I got some data.
Task for Lamar.
I got some data.
I'm going to kick the little bit of dirt that you left right there at the casket, at the grave site. I'm going to kick that little bit left back onto the grave site. Marcellus, you said I was 3 games away from getting fired as a head coach because I'm 3 games above 500, right?
You'll be 500,
3 games above 500.
Why we got this big name coach and he's 500?
Well, here's the thing, though. One Lamar Jackson is 0-2 in the playoffs. So how many games away is he from losing his job, and he ain't above 500?
Well, I know you didn't.
I'm above 500. Are you judging him the same way you're judging me? Because if you're judging him the same way you're judging me, then we got a problem here because he hasn't won enough playoff games to be considered even debatable in this conversation.
I can't believe
4-1. You know what Patrick Mahomes is in the playoffs?
What?
4-1.
Yeah.
There's that little bit of dirt. I kicked it on you. And whoever wants to take us to break,
I'm going to take you to break after I give y'all some facts.
I don't need the facts. I don't need your facts.
don't need the facts.
Okay. We know that the last 2 MVPs have turned out to win the Super Bowl. We'll see if the 3rd one in Lamar Jackson will win a Super Bowl this year. But it's been a trend of late. You win MVP, the next year you win the Super Bowl. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this playoff record. Because the first year he was thrown into the fire, he wasn't even a starter at the beginning of the season, saved the team's fate and saved his coach's career in terms of John Harbaugh, and goes out there and loses that game, playing the same team 2 times in 3 weeks. I get it. Next year, Mark Ingram's hurt. They go out there, they start throwing the ball too much, and he has 508 total yards in a loss, but y'all gonna say it's all on him. Okay, all that said, here's my thing.
He's trying to make excuses. It's like convenient excuses.
All I'm giving you is this guy.
Excuses.
Peyton Manning was 27 before he won his first playoff game. My man Lamar Jackson's 23. Calm down, people.
You sound like you're in a parent-teacher conference right now.
I got a lot of kids, and I'm in a lot of those.
If that was somebody else's child, you say put them in suspension. But since it's yours, you want to justify them not get out. Let's give them another chance. Don't put them in school suspension. Give them another chance.
And you would have put Peyton Manning on suspension and kicked him out to school, and that would have been the best student you ever had in your school. But that's how you coach. I get how it goes.
Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
All I got is this is simple. Last year, the Ravens led the NFL in scoring, 5 points better than the Chiefs. And the Ravens are off to a better start this year than the Chiefs, 7 points. Ravens had the #2 offense last year, and this year they're off to a better start. I keep saying better when I say Lamar Jackson, who's already an NFL MVP. I keep saying worse when I talk about Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in terms of offensive statistical categories. Please explain yourself.
Let me explain this, LeVar. Let me explain this, and I'm going to take us to break.
That's all I got.
This is a sports show, and we talk a plethora of sports, so I'm going to do this track analogy for these track heads.
Oh, you know I love it.
Marcellus loves track. My dog L.A. loves track. I love track, so let's talk about it. In the 100 meters, the premier event of track and field, you have a few different phases.
Yes.
You got to get out them blocks and you got to drive. But then you got your top end. But then you also have to relax and you have to finish. Here's what we know. Lamar Jackson's drive phase, that acceleration phase, Marcellus, it goes crazy.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
Oh, you're going to tell me how it's
drive phase, he gets out the blocks, and it's him and Pat. Sometimes he's looking back at Pat like, hurry up, catch up. The problem is the bulk of that race ain't just the drive phase. You got that Usain leg. You got to open up and you got to run. And when them boys, Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, open up and run, Patrick Mahomes has left Lamar Jackson, because when them playoffs come and you got to relax and finish, Mahomes relaxes to 4-1. Lamar Jackson, he tightens up to 0-2. Coming up, Dak Prescott is coming up for the ages. But we'll tell you if he still has something to prove Sunday in Seattle. That's next. Speak for yourself.
He's been in the league longer. He really back to Speak for Yourself, presented by Hyundai. Let's move to my guy, Dak Prescott, who silenced a number of doubters who didn't think he could win in close games. Dak threw for 450 yards, Acho, and led the Cowboys back from a 20-point deficit, Acho, to cap off one of the best comebacks you'll ever see in the NFL. Acho! Next up for Dallas is a matchup with the 2-0 Seahawks and the red-hot Russell Wilson-led Seahawks in Seattle. Lamar's back with us. Acho, does Dak have anything to prove this weekend?
Dak has everything to prove this weekend. The only thing Dak has ever had to prove in his life is this weekend. I don't care what Dak has ever proved in his life thus far, except for this weekend and this weekend only. Marcellus, you always tell me that the devil is in the details. As the son of a pastor, I try not to flirt with the devil often, but on this show, when talking about these details, you got to flirt with the devil. Dak Prescott last year, they won 8 games. But again, let me tell you who they beat. They beat the Redskins, or former Redskins, now football team, twice. They beat the Giants twice. They beat the Lions. They beat the Rams. They beat the Dolphins. They beat the Eagles. The Dallas Cowboys actually didn't beat any playoff teams last year. Wait a second, Nacho, you got that wrong.
Hold up.
They beat one playoff team last year. The playoff team that they beat was the Eagles. And the only reason the Eagles made it to the playoffs was because the Eagles beat the Cowboys when it mattered most. Okay, let's talk about this season. Stop taking to the past, Acho. I'm not worried about the past. Talk to me about the present. The Cowboys lost to the Rams, looking very much so like a playoff team, at minimum a wild card team. And then they beat the Falcons, although they were down 29-0. Came back. Great job, Dak Prescott. Great job, Mike McCarthy. You beat the Falcons. Falcons not going to be a playoff team. Marcellus, what I need to see from Dak is that he can show up in the big games against legitimized teams. The Cowboys fans deserve more than mediocrity. They deserve more than inflated stats against below-average teams. Dak Prescott, if you win this game against the Seahawks and outplay Russell Wilson, I will eat all of the crow that there is to be eaten. But the fact of the matter is, we just haven't seen it yet. Marcellus, you like numbers. This block, I'll play your little game. I'll talk numbers. You went to Columbia, I didn't, but I did get 2 degrees from Texas, so I know a little something.
You're right, little something.
A little something. Not much, but I know a little bit. Dak's career record against the football team, that's Washington, against the Giants. He's 13-3. Clap for yourself. Dak Prescott's record against everybody else, 28-22. But before I drop this mic real quick, Dak Prescott against playoff teams, he's 9-14. But his record against everybody else, he's 32-11. I know Dak Prescott can ball. I just don't know who he can ball against. So against Seattle, please, Dak Prescott, show me you can ball against a legitimized Super Bowl team.
Wow. can't believe that you're going to expect Dak to do more than what Dak has done, which has been tremendous since he's been in the league. But that's how they move the goalposts. So, no, Dak has nothing to prove unless you just want to see some more of the greatness. Here's the thing. You make it seem like it's an out-of-body experience. Like, oh, my God, Dak, whatever you've been, I need more than that. More than what? I am 4th all-time in NFL history in all-time passer rating. But you need more. Okay, that's fine. I get it, because I remember when I first got in the league, and I'm Dak Prescott, and I'm sitting there holding a clipboard for Tony Romo, and I'm looking at Tony Romo, I'm like, why are you not going out there to play? And Tony Romo couldn't play. And Dak took over that team and won 13 games that year and took them to the playoffs. But everyone, the first few years for Dak was like, where's the team success? Okay, you got 13 wins your first year, and then after that, where's the team success? Get us over the hump. We need to win another Super Bowl. And then they moved the goalposts. You see where Acho get all those muscles from? It's from moving these goalposts all the way over here to then the spotlight was on Dak. Where are your numbers? Are they winning because of you, or are they winning in spite of you? And the narrative changed. Dak Prescott, you're not getting a contract because you're average. You're a game manager. You're mediocre. And we don't see the numbers. And then Dak just goes out there and says, oh, that's nothing. Personal record, career highs in numbers, almost 5,000 yards passing. And then all of a sudden, #1 offense. And people say, but now we need it all. Where's the team success? Stop moving the goalposts on Dak Prescott. He has proven to you guys that he's already a winner. The second most wins since he's been in the league, but he has more to prove. There are a lot of quarterbacks that are good to great that have not won it all. Do not put that on Dak Prescott.
It's time for me to talk back. Marcellus, Dak Prescott isn't mediocre, but Dak Prescott dominates mediocrity. That is the difference.
Poetic.
That's the issue.
That was poetic.
Not mediocre.
But who doesn't?
He dominates mediocrity.
You got to. That's normal.
My issue is this. Marcellus, you went to Columbia. In order to go to Columbia, did you take the SAT or the ACT, or did you take both?
Man, I had to act and sack.
Okay, great. When I went to Texas, I had to take the SAT. And the SAT dictates how well you do on that. That is the dominating factor of how you will get into a university. Not how you scored on your 5th grade math exam. Not how you scored on your biology test in 9th grade. Not how you scored on your Algebra 2 exam. It's how you score on the SAT that dictates your real success and where you're going to go. The Seattle Seahawks, they are the SAT. I don't care what Dak Prescott did in his multiplication table math test in 5th grade. I don't care what Dak Prescott does in his Algebra 2 exam solving for X. I don't care about that. How are you going to do on your SAT test, which is the Seahawks?
Good.
I hated these classes when you be sitting there like, damn, teacher, you're wrong. And how long you going to keep talking when you're wrong?
You kind of wrong on that one,
Seattle is the test?
Seattle's the test.
He beat Russell Wilson's ass in the playoffs already before. But now you want to say, this is the test.
How long ago?
Week 3 is the test. It doesn't matter. We're using Dak against Dak. You can't give me facts of him yesterday and then get mad when they come back at you from yesterday. That's just how the game goes. He's already beat Seattle when it mattered more. Why does it matter in week 3 if he loses? He has so much to prove.
Because this Seahawks team is a top 2 team in the NFL. This is an adequate litmus test. Wait, are you laughing at the Seahawks being top 2? Because I don't know.
I don't know what they are. I know I've been on teams that started fast and ended slow.
Exactly, LeVar. It's a sliding
scale. So if you get a good GPA, which is to Marcellus's point, then you don't have to score as high on those ACT and SAT and ACT scores tests. So it is a collective body of work that goes into how you're judged and what you do. They'll say, we'll let you in and you'll be eligible if you don't test as high on those tests, if your GPA is high. So I look at what Dak has done, and he does have a strong body of work.
Thank you.
But the problem here is he does have to continue to prove himself this weekend based upon the fact that it's not good enough to be good. It's not good enough to even be great when you have a star on your helmet. And that's the sin of being a Dallas Cowboy. He cannot just be great. He has to be great enough. And what is great enough? Every single year. And I had to deal with this in Washington, and it's not even as popular in Dallas as it was in Washington, but yet and still you sell hope in those 2 markets. They sell Super Bowl or bust every single year in Dallas. So therefore, if you cannot at least get close to winning the Super Bowl, what does that mean? AFC Championship game? Maybe that's acceptable. Making it to the Super Bowl, that's certainly acceptable. But he has to continue to show a trajectory that is going to say, we can get to the Super Bowl or win the Super Bowl with this guy. And it has to be a show and prove. And that's why it's all about him continuing to prove that he can be that guy if he's going to justify the numbers that he's looking for contractually.
You know, I got to apologize.
Oh, thank you. Finally, somebody can show contrition.
I'm sorry. It's my fault. It's my fault.
You are wrong.
No,
you're so wrong.
Right.
Oh, my God.
It's my fault that I actually have legitimate expectation for the Dallas Cowboys. That's my fault. I've realized it now.
I saw the setup.
I was born in Dallas in 1990. I'm telling on myself. I'm telling my age. But remember what happened in Dallas in the early 90s? Super Bowls. That's what happened. I came out to, the Cowboys won another Super Bowl? The Cowboys won another Super Bowl? I was born into Super Bowls in Dallas. So those are my expectations. To see the Cowboys not only beat legitimate teams, beat playoff teams, and win playoff games. We have not seen a lot out of that. We've not seen a lot of that out of Dak Prescott and these Dallas Cowboys. That is why beating the Seahawks was so important. I need legitimized litmus tests, beating legitimized opponents. Here is what the Cowboys fans are doing, because this is what the Cowboys fans have been fed. Therefore, they've lowered their expectations. Cowboys play the Seahawks, then they play the Browns, the Giants, the Cardinals, and the Washington football team. The Cowboys will do this. They'll lose to the Seahawks, but they'll beat the Browns. Oh, my God, we're great. And then they'll beat the Giants. Oh, my God, we're great. And then they might lose to the Cardinals, beat the football team, look up, and they'll be sitting there at 4-3, be sitting there at 4-2, but they haven't actually beat anybody. And that's the problem in Dallas. Because the expectations have been so low, they started to lower their own expectations. Marcellus, Dak Prescott is 9-14 against opponents who have made the playoffs. I don't care about all those wins that you tell me about. Tell me about the meaningful wins. Again, last year, Dak Prescott beat one playoff team. The only reason that team was in the playoffs is because that team that Dak Prescott beat, the Eagles, beat Dak Prescott. If the Cowboys would have beat the Eagles again, Dak Prescott wouldn't have beat any playoff teams. But instead, Dak was sitting at home because he couldn't go to Lincoln Financial Field and beat the maligned Eagles team. Dak Prescott is a great quarterback. Dak Prescott is not mediocre, but Dak Prescott dominates mediocrity. I need to see Dak Prescott dominate excellence in order to now consider him excellent.
Okay, I know you were born in 1990, and I don't have any memories of my life before the age of 5. So obviously, by the time you were 5 years old,
I'm smarter than you, okay? Photographic memory.
And you remember when you were 2? You're the one. Here's the thing. So you kind of just weren't cognizant of them winning 3 Super Bowls while mom and daddy taking care of you, you know? Okay, that's fine. I get it. But I'm not going to allow you to conflate. I'm not going to allow you to put this all on Dak when you talk about meaningful wins, because meaningful wins don't just come because of the quarterback. Meaningful wins come because of a collaborative effort. But let's just give you one game as a microcosm, one game to just show you why Dak maybe doesn't win all the meaningful games. I don't know if you were in L.A. watching them play against the Rams a couple years ago in the playoffs. I was. And in that game, Dak wasn't supposed to lead this charge. It was supposed to be Zeke. How did Zeke do in that game? 20 carries, 47 yards. Interesting. How did the O-line do in that game? Not so well, because the O-line has been battered, bruised, and right now, let's be real about it. They're a little overhyped.
They battered,
we can laugh at this, and the defense did not show up. Then last year, you keep talking about how they didn't beat anybody legitimate. How was the defense last year? Overhyped or not? Yeah. How was Zeke last year compared to what we normally see from Zeke? Started fast and then
top 4 rusher. Top 4 rusher.
That means he's 4th. Top 4 is never 3, 2, or 1. It's always 4. So here's the thing. And offensive line, between injuries and kind of losing their way, let's just be real about this. But Dak had a career year last year. I just don't like when I see the greats of yesterday, great quarterbacks who never won a Super Bowl. I'm not even going to go through the list because you're going to compare Dak to them. All I'm saying is there have been too many great quarterbacks who have never won it all, who have never beat the legitimate team for it all. I'm not going to put all of that on Dak. Some of that on Dak, but not all of that on Dak.
Here's my bigger issue. Here's my bigger issue.
Please don't do that.
LeVar, please notice what Marcellus does.
Dance out.
The Cowboys come back and beat the Falcons. Oh, my God, Dak Prescott. It's all his glory. Glory and praise be to Dak Prescott.
But they was getting spanked. They was getting spanked.
But
you didn't have to get
when
there.
it comes to the Cowboys' losses, I mean, we can't put this all on Dak now. I mean, come on now. Zeke didn't do his job. Offensive line didn't do his job. I mean, offensive line been battered and maligned and bruised, whatever other B words he said. But when the Cowboys win, All praise be to Dak. Marcellus, this is not Burger King, sir. You can't just have it your way now. You can't just have it your way.
I went there 2 days ago. I thought I could. All right, whatever, man.
Look, let me say this, though. Let me say this.
Everything.
During Dak's tenure as the head coach, they have only had one 500 season. They've won all the way through.
Come on.
So it was good enough. The justification of paying Ezekiel Elliott is present, right? Then why hasn't it been present for Dak Prescott?
Because
you can't come up with go ahead.
Well, that's a good question. No, the thing about it is this is a good question and this is a great topic. It is unequivocally clear that Zeke is a top 5 rusher. Like that, there's no debating that. We don't sit here on this show like, Zeke top 5, Zeke top 5. No. We sit here and we go, we got Zeke, we got McCaffrey,
now,
you got Saquon.
We might start having it now.
That's true.
Oh, no. He's top 4 rusher. Top 4 rusher.
He has been leading to the contract.
Second most wins is Dak Prescott in the same draft where your guy, Carson Wentz, has now been under 500 the last 2 years.
Even with winning, he has not legitimized getting
Cam
paid.
Newton says it's not about money, it's about respect. We'll tell you if he's already earned it. Next, Speak for Yourself, presented by Hyundai.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself, presented by Hyundai. It's time to talk about Cam Newton. He's making the Patriots look like geniuses for signing him this offseason. Cam has 5 total touchdowns, and he leads the team in rushing. Ooh, that's a bad man, mama. All while playing on a 1-year deal with a base salary of just over $1 million. Ooh, chump change. Many expect Cam to get a huge payday next offseason, but that's not his concern. Let's take a listen.
You must understand that is literally the last of my worries. Money at this particular point in my career is not important, right? And let's be honest. I've made money, but for everything that I play this game for, I haven't received yet. That's why I'm playing. So it's not about money. It's about respect.
Yeah, money isn't everything, but it sure ranks up there with oxygen for me. LeVar is back with us. But Marcellus, is Cam has Cam already earned his respect back?
Has he already earned his respect back? Yeah, because he bet on himself, and so far, everyone has to eat crow that bet against him. Yes, he's earned his respect back, but I'm not even going to push too far down the lane of what Cam was talking about. I just want to talk about this respect and the ultimate respect that he's chasing. And he's not chasing the dough necessarily. I got to talk to people because this sounds like he's using respect as a paper tiger, as they call it, which is like, I'm going to use this as something that I'm chasing because really what I want, I can't necessarily claim or state. The ultimate respect is the dough, damn it. Like, getting paid is the ultimate respect. When you haven't earned it yet, you don't feel fully respected. So what's the currency of respect besides currency? There is none. And Cam Newton is caught up in this position right now because the only buyer, the only taker of his services are the New England Patriots. So he can't sit there and really diss them because they're not even paying him a ton. But you got to be real about it. When it talks to the scoreboard of respect, is it really a nod from the homies? Is it a dap and approval? Or is it going to display itself on that scoreboard by how much they pay for your services? So I'm not buying into the paper tiger of, oh, you know what? I want everyone respect because I'm going to tell y'all right now, when I played and now when I'm talking, I don't give a damn if you respect me or not. I want that check. Respect. I don't even know how to cash in respect. Everywhere I go, people know I'm a Clipper lover and they call me a Laker hater until they see me. They be like, yo, Clippers suck. You want to do a selfie? Hey, Marcelo, I can't stand you. You wrong about Dak. Selfie. Like, the point is, where do you cash in respect? And there's no place in this world you cash it in, but you cash in that dough. Cam, stay focused. Get your money, bro.
I feel you, Marcellus. I do. But I guess this isn't Cam Newton's path. This isn't what Cam Newton wants. He said he's made $120 million during his 9 seasons. That's just on the football field alone. So Cam is saying, I'm coming for my respect. Well, then what is respect?
What is it?
Respect, a feeling of deep admiration for someone or something elicited by their abilities, qualities, achievements. Cam lost his respect when he lost his ability, or so we thought. Cam was 0-8 as a starter coming into this season. Cam had in his last 8 games. Cam Newton hadn't won a start since 2018, October, November. So when we thought he lost his ability, he lost his respect. He got his respect back. And he got his respect back Sunday night because everyone knows he has his ability back. 397 yards through the air, 2 yards away from beating the Seahawks in Seattle. Third highest passing yards in a game of Cam Newton's career. That's week 2. Then week 1, 10th highest rushing yards in a game of his career. That's week 1. So Cam's respect is back because his ability is back. Cam, I understand you made your money. Now keep making your money. But if you correlate respect with reverence, if you correlate respect with how people fear you, people fear Cam Newton again. Maybe not the defensive lineman, maybe not us opinionists, but defensive coordinators are now looking at Cam Newton and saying, okay, this dude can run the ball 15 times for 75 yards. He can pass the ball for 400 yards. There's maybe 2 other quarterbacks in the league that can do that, and Cam is one of them. And so Cam has earned back his respect. Now he got to let the respect turn into the check, because that you can cash.
Yeah, I disagree with you, Marcellus. I'm all along your lines a lot, Acho. And listen, I got to say I have a different perspective on this. It's interesting. I shared this on my social yesterday. King of the Mammals, by the way, on IG. I wrecked a motorcycle. Look, I wrecked a motorcycle when I retired. And the reason why I was on that motorcycle to begin with is because I was chasing that adrenaline rush of what it felt like to play the game. Then I didn't realize what I was going through mentally and emotionally until much further away from and removed from my career. I was great from grade school on. I was the best rated football player in Pee Wee League. I was the best rated player coming out of high school. I was the best rated player coming out of college and had a Pro Bowl career as a pro. I wanted respect. Like, cash is fine. I like cash. But when you talk to me, I don't want you to respect the fact that I made a lot of money. I want you to respect my passion that went to the game. I want you to respect my dedication. Maybe it's not a tangible thing that you can cash at a bank, but do I want to be recognized for how hard I work? Do I want to be recognized for how I competed? Absolutely. There are some things that money cannot buy. Happiness is one of them. Respect is not one of the things that you can buy with money. People can fake love, people can fake respect, but you can earn it on the field. So I totally felt where Cam was coming from. And you know what? That's a driving, motivating factor. When I was growing up looking at the people I looked up to, like Greg Lloyd and all of those guys, it was about respect to those guys. It wasn't about anything else other than the love and the respect that went into playing this game. I relate to that. And so I agree with where Cam is. And yes, he's got his respect back, but I don't think he's got his respect for himself back until he can hoist that Lombardi trophy. I think that's his motivating factor.
Oh, man, I don't want to sound heartless, but I disagree with every syllable you just stated right there, LeVar. And I love you, brother, but you know what is interesting? Cool. Life's a sandwich. No matter how you flip it, the bread comes first. Okay, here we go.
No mayonnaise.
No mayonnaise, please. No mayo. Here's the thing. Acho said that he lost his ability, so he lost his respect. But he really didn't lose his ability. He lost his opportunity to display that ability to his fullness. So what happens here is a different thing. People perceive you can't do something because they're looking at you lesser than you were. Cam at full capabilities was 6-2 that year. Cam at full capabilities had his highest completion percentage ever. But then when he was compromised, he all of a sudden started to redefine who he thought he was. Same mistake you made, LeVar, talking about what you want is respect. I don't want respect because respect is defined by others, what they think of you. If you lose your way, you lose your self-esteem, and all of a sudden it's defined by others instead of by yourself. All I'm saying is, LeVar, you were never just a football player, but somehow, some way, you bought it. You got sold on. You internalized it.
No, so, you conflated the point.
I'm not conflating because
you have certainly changed the point because you can have self-respect. You can seek the respect that validates what you're already feeling.
If you're seeking self-respect, then how did you have to get to a situation where you needed to be defined and given to you from others? That is an internal conversation.
It doesn't have to be defined by others. Just like it doesn't have to be defined by money.
And also happiness. I'm using it against you, LeVar. You also said happiness. Happiness has nothing to do with external circumstances. Happiness has to do with whatever
comes internal.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're making the same point. But we're making the same point.
Well, then good.
We're making the same point.
Yeah. That's
Money
the way to
doesn't
let
buy
it
that.
off.
Money doesn't buy
That's
that.
the way to let yourself off easy. If you buy it,
No. Money doesn't buy that.
Look, I'm not talking about the money. I'm saying, look, if I am something for services, then my money is going to be the ultimate respect you could pay me. Everything else comes from within. So when you get caught up in a situation where you're defining yourself as a football player, you should have learned a long time ago that you're not. You're just a guy playing football. Coming up in our big story, LeBron showed up last night, but most of his teammates didn't. We'll tell you if the King and AD have enough to close out the Nuggets. Next, Speak for Yourself, presented by Hyundai.
I respect
Get away
you.
from my kid. You're watching Speak for Yourself. Marcellus Wiley back with Emmanuel Acho.
It's been a show.
It's been a show. Crunchy up here, spicy. It's time for our big story, sponsored by Jimmy Dean. Speaking of spicy, because today's your day to shine on. Let's return to the Lakers, who dropped Game 3 to the Nuggets last night behind Jamal Murray's 28 points. LeBron James and Anthony Davis combined for 57 points, which has normally worked in the bubble. L.A. 6-2 in the playoffs when they combined for 50-plus points. But the rest of the Lakers were MIA. Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee combined for only 2 rebounds in the loss. Yep. Acho, you worried LeBron and AD don't have enough help to close out the Nuggets?
I'm not worried at all that they don't have enough help, because if we're being real, LeBron and AD don't necessarily need a ton of help to close out the Nuggets. Let me speak it to you like this. I believe they're 14, 15-1 when LeBron and AD combine for over 60 points. When them boys get 60 points, they don't lose games. When they get over 55 points, they're 25-5, meaning out of every 6 games, they'll lose 1. That was the one. Okay, if they do that again, if LeBron and AD continue to combine for over 55 points, they're going to roll. They don't need a ton of help. Here is what they need. Over the next 2 out of the next however many games the Lakers feel like entertaining this series, Kuzma or Rondo or Morris or KCP, just one of y'all go off.
One.
We don't need all 4 of y'all to go off. Just one of y'all go off. Y'all pick. It's 4 of y'all. One of y'all ball. Just one of y'all ball. And so I don't think the Lakers need a ton of help. Remember, AD didn't help himself. He didn't have no boards through 3 quarters, 2 boards for the whole game. That isn't helping yourself. So I would be more worried if we weren't talking about 2 of the top 5 players in the NBA. But the fact of the matter is we are. And when it comes down to it, either Game 5, Game 4, Game 6, it's going to come down to the Joker and Murray better than AD and the King. And AD and the King are forever, right now at least. I mean, I say forever.
Yeah.
But for the imminent future, better than the Joker and Murray. They don't really need help.
Yeah, look, I would be worried if I were a Laker fan. I would be worried if I were on this Lakers squad, because what you're talking about is absolutely correct in terms of their duo being the greatest. But now, if you look at them, they're a duo and others versus a team. And that's a problem. Coach used to always say, a closed fist will beat those fingers spread. And that's what the Lakers are, like 2 together and 3 playing somewhere sideways. And you're hoping and counting who's the other one. Is it going to be Caruso? Is it going to be Kuzma? Who is it going to be every single night? Every coach I've ever played for gave us a game plan. And every coach always highlighted one of the best attributes in all of his players: reliability.
Absolutely.
He said, I don't even care if you're great. I don't even care if you're good. Just be reliable so I can know when I'm composing this game plan, this is who you are. And if you look at the Lakers, in the 4th quarters, the 2 wins for the Lakers, they were outscored in those same 4th quarters. Let's look at these Lakers in crunch time. Full screen King time. Most 4th quarter minutes versus the Nuggets. You don't necessarily want to see this. Your oldest guy, one of the 2 in the duo, is putting in the most minutes. And then look who's right behind him: Caruso, Kuzma, Davis, then Rondo. If you look at this disjointed lineup, the guys who are finishing the game, not even the guys starting the game. Let's start talking about going against a team with a closed fist. They go out there with their starters. They're going to close with those guys. Lakers are a little all over the place. Got to be careful closing with guys you don't start with, because chemistry will be affected. Got to bring in our guy, Fox NBA analyst Slick Rick the Bucher. And Slick Rick, settle this for us. Are you worried LeBron and AD don't have enough help to close out the Nuggets?
No, I'm not worried about the help. I'm not worried about Kyle Kuzma and Alex Caruso being in the Western Conference Finals and not consistently giving you big performances, considering they've never even been in the playoffs before.
Yeah.
I'm not worried that an almost 35-year-old Rajon Rondo, who is a career 30%, 33% three-point shooter can't hit a big shot in the Western Conference Finals. What I'm worried about is that their so-called two stars don't show up or have not showed up at winning time, crunch time in these two close games, which just happen to be the two closest games that they've played in the finals so far. If you look at the numbers for LeBron, we know what he did in the last 5 minutes in game 2 was 3 turnovers, 3 missed shots, an air ball 3, no points, 0 assists. Anthony Davis obviously went off in that to pull it out. But in this game last night, Anthony Davis, last 5 minutes, didn't even take a shot, never mind an assist or anything else. And LeBron James, I got him 1 for 3 with 1 turnover and 1 assist. Meanwhile, on the other side of the equation, in game 2, Jokic scores the last 11 points for the Nuggets, and Jamal Murray assists on 2 of those buckets. And then in game 3, Jamal Murray gives you 6 points and a sweet dime in a 90-second spurt in the final 2.5 minutes that basically iced the game. I am seeing the Nuggets stars step up when the game needs to be won in these tight games, and I am not seeing it from the Lakers stars. So this is what I absolutely hate this. We look at the overall numbers and we say, well, LeBron James and Anthony Davis are top 5 players and they're doing their job. Your job is to bring that home. I'm not looking for the complementary players to make the big shots at the end of the game. I don't care what the final numbers are. When it comes down to a close contest, my stars need to bring it home, and that, for the most part, has not been the case with the Lakers, and that's what I would be most worried about.
The only thing, Slick, honestly, that I'm worried about is if it turns into a track meet, them young legs gonna win. That's my only concern. Like, you heard Murray at the end of the game. I don't know if y'all watched the post-game quote. As soon as it was over, I always watch the quotes at the end of the game because that's where you really hear what you need to hear from these players, the true authenticity. Murray says, oh, if this turns into a race, we're the younger team. So I said, maybe he's just talking. Let me look it up. He's right. On average, the Lakers starting lineup is roughly 4 years older than the Nuggets starting lineup. Now, you might think that's not a big deal until you saw at the end of the game, AD was gassed. Remember when LeBron dives for that loose ball? It looked like it took him forever to get up. He was like, man, can somebody get me a pillow and a blanket, please? And so I'm not so much concerned about the help. What I'm concerned about, Slick, is like, man, I don't know if the legs will tire if this series continues to go longer. So really, like we've said before, LeBron and AD, they just can't afford to play with their food. Yes, if you look at the stat line, LeBron balled. Technically, if you look at the stat line, AD gave you 27 points. But you got to have more than 1 assist. You got to have more than 2 rebounds. You are the most athletic player on the court, probably the most athletic player left in the finals. And you're talking Eastern and Western Conference. So AD has to give you more. It's not enough to just give you 27 points. It's crunch time. AD has to have a crunch time performance.
Yeah, the thing that fascinates me is that the Lakers really are an outlier among the 4 remaining teams. The other 3 are young and deep and versatile. And I'm watching Danny Green trying to chase around Jamal Murray. Jamal got anything he wanted. Jamal figured out Alex Caruso. So, yeah, the Lakers are a front-running team. They need to get out and play fast early and get a lead. They're a completely different team when it becomes a possession-by-possession game or it becomes a close game, because I haven't seen consistently under pressure AD and LeBron work together well in the way that I've seen Jamal and Jokic. And here's the other thing that I take from, Acho, I take from the post games. When AD hit the big shot, and obviously biggest shot of his career, meaningful, but the fact of the matter is they should have never been in that position. They should have been an angry Lakers team, and it's game 2. And there should have been an idea, there should have been an approach of, hey, we eked it out, almost a dissatisfaction. But AD acted as if this was the coronation. And meanwhile, Jamal Murray talks about the game, and it's like, yeah, we did the next thing. There was no, you got the shimmy on the back, but there was no celebration to the level of the Lakers. And I would expect it would be the exact reverse, that the Denver Nuggets would be the ones just thrilled to pick up a game after losing the first two. And it wasn't that the whole attitude in the post game, I think, is also revealing.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. All things equal, we know it's a young man's game. Like when you just, if you could balance out the scales, and we're talking about a team versus a duo in a carousel of others, that's different when you're talking about how they're going to match up and how they're going to work together efficiently and buy into each other. Alex Caruso's getting the second most minutes in crunch time. I know Alex Caruso has shown to be a surprise for the Lakers and certainly works well with LeBron, but that's not the winning formula against a tight unit like the Denver Nuggets. So when you come into a game 3 and you dodged a bullet, literally on the whiteboard it said, dodged a bullet. You have a heightened sense of awareness. I don't know if y'all ever been shot at. I have, multiple times. Guess what? Anytime I'm around that place again, I'm like, you just feel it. Your hair stand up just in fear. They walked on the court kind of like, well, we the Lakers. Here's our uniforms. We got this. Problem right there. So in a situation when it's a young man's game, as we all grew up, when you're the youngest, you always got to get the remote for daddy. But since I'm daddy in my house now, my little son, MJ, he knows what time it is. Go get daddy that remote, damn it. Coming up, Father Time is knocking on the door in Tampa. We'll tell you if we're disappointed in Tom Brady after week 2. Next, Speak for Yourself. Who wrote that?
Get daddy that remote. Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Let's talk about Tom Brady, whose move to Tampa was met with a lot of hype, but so far it hasn't been seen on the field. Brady's Bucks are 1-1, but he already has more turnovers than touchdowns and is 26th in the league in passing yards. Brady said it's going to take the Bucks time, adding, quote, "We're going to be building all season." So, Marcellus, big bro, are you disappointed in Brady after the first 2 games?
Not at all. Not at all. This is a work in progress. You got to respect that this is going to take time for them to come together, for Tom Brady to get acclimated, not only his new surroundings with his new staff, but his new teammates. And if you look at this situation from a whole, you can't go out there and have an issue with the process when the GOAT is the one running that process.
Fair.
Who else in NFL history knows better from start to finish how you have to approach your work, how you have to go out there, and even if someone is feeling good that day, you got to say, yeah, that's good, but that's not great. How you have to motivate others, how you have to figure out which buttons to push. So Tom Brady is in a situation right now, despite all of his individual numbers, he's still learning on the fly. Despite all that, he's 1-1. The same Emmanuel Acho who keep blowing up a phone every night, texting me all the time, who raves about, oh, my God, the Patriots and Cam are still at 1-1, but you love them. It's all about your connotation. It's all how you want to spin it. But the way I'm looking at it, Tom Brady is in a conference where you should fear no one. In a division, you should fear no one. And then he's playing a game of chess that's going to be slow played, but he'll be there at the end.
Big bro, big bro, big bro. I'm completely disappointed in Tom Brady. His performance thus far has been pedestrian. And that's my problem. It's been pedestrian. I mean, I'm not even going to offer too much just words because they can be superfluous and meaningless. So let's just talk numbers and talk about how he's trending in the wrong direction over the last 4 seasons. Full screen prints, please. Think about it from 2017, 2018, 19, and 2020. His passing yards consistently on the decline. His passing touchdowns on the decline, and they're on pace to stay on the decline. His yards per attempt on the decline. His passer rating on the decline. Every meaningful statistic, and Marcellus, I didn't have to go searching long and wide and high and low for these statistics. Every meaningful statistic that is found on the surface that you use to quantify a quarterback outside of wins, because obviously that matters a lot, and he's sitting at 1-1. Every meaningful statistic says Tom Brady's on the decline. Y'all get rid of the full screen. I don't need that no more. Let me look at my door.
Yeah, help yourself out.
If Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay to partner up with the quarterback whisperer, if he went to Tampa Bay to partner up with the QB guru who's supposed to inflate your positive numbers, where's the inflation? He went to Tampa Bay to partner with Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians has worked with Peyton Manning, has worked with Ben Roethlisberger, worked with Andrew Luck, has worked with Carson Palmer, Jameis Winston. Yes, all those quarterbacks experienced ties and turnovers under Bruce Arians. But what I didn't tell y'all last week, all those quarterbacks experienced ties as far as passing yardage and touchdowns under Bruce Arians as well. I'm waiting for Tom Brady to show me the highs. Tom Brady, you just partnered up with the best quarterback, the best coach in Bruce Arians when it comes to inflating quarterback statistics. Yet your stats they're still deflated.
Did you listen to yourself? I know you got notes, you got full screens, prints. Everything is going well for you, but you just said you just hooked up with. You just hooked up with. You played 2 weeks of football with Bruce Arians, and you expect it all to happen just overnight, huh? You got a lot of microwaves in your house. Not just one. You got a lot of microwaves. I got ovens, multiple ovens. Sometimes you got to slow bake it, big dog, if you really want it to taste just right. Who is leading the league in the most drops this year? Is it Tampa Bay? Is it Tom Brady? Is it Tom Brady's receivers? Who has a headline that reads, drop passes cost Tom Brady a 400-yard game by the numbers? Is it Bruce Arians and Tom Brady? Bruce Arians said, hey, if y'all don't start catching this football, drop 3 touchdowns. Not 1, not 2. 3 touchdowns in week 2 alone, and you over here saying, I'm disappointed in Tom Brady. Like Giselle said, he can't throw the ball and catch it, damn it. So I don't understand why you're so hypercritical.
The reason I'm hypercritical is because we're talking about a guy who's been hyper-successful. We're talking about the GOAT.
Oh.
If we were talking about Nick Foles, Marcellus, then I'd be like, okay, bet. But when you're talking about somebody who's supposed to be immensely talented, I would hope it would click quicker than sooner. I came on this show, 2.5 months ago? You said it yourself. I'm not going to toot a horn, but you said we clicked instantly. I would like to think that's because you're talented, I'm talented, it works. Now, if we were lesser talented, scooch into this show, and we would have struggled early on. But when you're talking about the greatest of all time, he knows every football language, regardless of the plays and whatnot. He can translate that into his own speech. Why are you making excuses? Tom Brady hasn't even made excuses for himself, but you sitting up here making excuses for the GOAT. He's the GOAT. I just want to see GOAT-type performances.
Wow, so when someone's trending in the wrong direction, Otto jumps off them, right? Because you just said that about Tom Brady.
Want to see more?
How come you're not jumping off Patrick Mahomes? You argued me for 20 minutes about Patrick Mahomes. He's trending in the wrong direction in terms of his individual numbers. 27th yard attempt, 22nd completion. All I'm saying, if you're going to narrowly look at Tom Brady in 2 weeks and say you're trending in the wrong direction, you need to look at the few-year sample size of your guy, Patrick Mahomes. I know you don't want to do that. Coming up, you've heard of keep it 100. Well, when coaches and athletes can't be totally honest, they actually keep it 99. We'll explain next. Speak for yourself. Got you with that, Patrick. Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Time to keep it 99 when coaches and athletes can't keep it 100. They'll give you an answer that isn't totally honest or truthful. You listen to the sound bites and we'll translate.
Let's get it rolling with Doug Peterson, head coach for the Philadelphia Eagles, when he was asked about Carson Wentz's early season struggles. Take a listen.
In Carson's 5th year in the league and 5th year working with you, why are you seeing his production and his performance regress?
Progress?
Regress.
Oh, regress. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I did cut out there a second. It's a good question. For us, it's a matter of continuing to work, I think as coaches and players, we continue to strive to get better every single day. I just don't want Carson to feel like he has to make all the plays every single time.
Doug P., I know you had to keep it 99, but if you was keeping it 100, you would have said progress. And I'm hoping you said progress, because I don't want to have to diss my own quarterback. Heck yeah, Carson Wentz has regressed. He cost me the first 2 games of the season. Carson Wentz single-handedly is the reason we 0-2. And we lost to the Washington football team. They don't even have a name. We just got blown out by the Rams. By the Rams, we were going to take the lead. I called the play. It's not my fault that Carson Wentz didn't see the cornerback to undercut it and threw an interception when we was going to take the lead. Yes, Carson Wentz has regressed. But you said progress? Oh, that's on me.
Man, remember we did that show about the 5 signs of someone lying? You just saw 6 signs right there. He gave you 1 extra one, man. God, he was lying through his teeth. Well, here's Tom Brady when asked what changed from their Week 1 loss to the Saints and their win over the Panthers Sunday.
Execution was a little bit better. I think we still are a long ways from where we need to be. So it was, I think we have the ability to make plays. I think consistency, dependability are going to be things that we really need. So got to get back to work. And the clock's ticking on next week. So going to get focused on next week's game and try to be a lot better next week.
Did y'all see them elbows locked out like that? Boy, them arms about to go numb. He lying through his teeth. Anytime you hear somebody say, oh, a little bit better, just takes me back home with my little kids. My little man's trying his best to do some art right now, trying to color within the lines. Oh, and then he's like, Dad, you like this one? I'm like, yeah, it's a little bit better than the last time, but you know what, son? Keep working on it, because I know how it's supposed to look, and I know what I'm seeing right now. And he is on a team right now that is climbing up the mountain, but they're closer to the base of that mountain than the apex.
Look, sometimes you got to use a lot of words to keep it 99.
Okay.
But head coach for the Vikings, Mike Zimmer, he ain't really even have to say all that much. His team's 0-2. Take a listen.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know, Joe. You know, I've been telling them we can't start winning until we stop losing.
We know he had to keep it 99. But Marcellus, if he was keeping it 100, he would have said, I've been telling him, we sorry as heck right now. I've never seen worse football be played in my life. We lost 28-11 to the Colts. And Kirk Cousins, my quarterback, Kirk Cousins, 113 yards and 3 interceptions. We paid that man how much for this? For this performance?
Right.
Look, we don't deserve this. We deserve better. I feel you, Mike Zimmer. Keep it 100 next time.
You ain't lying. You're going to have me talking about my former coach, Mike Zimmer, man. He kept it 100. You just wanted to go in on him. But nah, let's go to somebody who keeps it 100. Here's Bill Belichick when asked if he's paid attention to his former quarterback, Tom Brady, this season.
I've really been focused on the teams that we're playing, Lou. Miami was obviously a big focus for us. Seattle, we kind of got our hands full with taking care of the things we got to take care of. I don't watch a lot of other pro games. I don't really watch a lot of college games. I watch the games that affect what we do.
Now, we know he had to keep it 99. Bill Belichick kept it 99. If he were keeping it 100, you know what he would have said?
What he said?
While mumbling, you know I don't give a damn about none of these players when they here, or certainly when they gone. When the last time I talked to Richard Seymour? When the last time I talked to Ty Law, Jimmy Garoppolo? Who is that? Bill Belichick don't give a damn about them dudes when they there, let alone when they're gone. But in all seriousness, you don't even know other teams' players when you're playing unless they're stars. How many times you been watching the film out, you're like, yeah, who's 68? Who's 68? Or worse, on your own team picture, somebody says, who's that guy? Number 68. You're like, oh, man, what's his name? You know what I'm talking about. He a guard. He a backup from North Dakota State. Like, we don't even know all of our teammates. So you don't know your opponents. You don't know your teammates all the time. And Bill Belichick, keeping it 99 is basically saying, y'all lucky I don't keep it 100 until y'all don't give a damn about none of these dudes. Coming up, John Gruden and Sean Payton were the latest coaches to be fined for not wearing masks on the sidelines. We'll give you our reaction next. Speak for yourself.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. John Gruden and Sean Payton were reportedly fined $100,000 each for not wearing masks the entire time on the sidelines Monday. They joined Kyle Shanahan, Vic Fangio, and Pete Carroll, who violated the rule on Sunday. Carroll agreed with the rules, saying, quote, sometimes you got to get coached up. So, Marcellus, what's your reaction to these NFL coaches being fined for not wearing masks?
Yeah, $1.7 million in fines for these coaches and these teams. And my reaction is applause. You know why? Because the memo was sent.
Okay.
Because you knew that we needed you to stay disciplined, to stay with us. As Commissioner Goodell says, you can't let up. Like, we know what our commitment has to be. You know why? Because billions of dollars are at stake for thousands of individuals. And you cannot give the impression that you're not protecting the shield because you're not trying to protect your players or protect this environment. So I kind of applaud them, man. Like, they gave you the warning, you violated, you got to pay the cost.
I can't applaud them, but I'll give them some little thumbs. I'll give them some snaps. Here's my problem, Marcellus. My problem is exactly what you said. You said billions of dollars are at stake. The tough dichotomy for me is that there are hundreds of millions of dollars at stake for these coaches, for these players. You're trying to make the playoffs. You're trying to win games. I've worn the mic in my headset as a middle linebacker. Middle linebacker gets the plays from the sideline. Coach says, hey, Acho, West roll. That's what we're going to run, West roll. If you hear something different, and you call something different, you throw your right arm up instead of your left arm up. Right. Y'all end up bringing the pressure from the left instead of the right. All of a sudden, touchdown, you give up and you lose a game, and now you're not in the playoffs. I understand, like, you have to follow the rules. I get that. But it's a tough dichotomy, which is what I'm wrestling with right now.
Nuh-uh. I'm day one pandemic, and I'm not wrestling with this, but my group text, my best friends, everyone, they all starting to leak. Like, hey, what you doing Saturday? Same thing I did last Saturday for the last 6 months. Like, what the hell? They talk about, I'm at the Ritz-Carlton. I'm like, good for you. I am not going anywhere. I am day one pandemic. Goodell said it. We've got to consistently do the things that got us here. We have too much at stake. But you know what? These coaches, the 5 violators, you don't have to wear the cloth mask. Look a mess like Andy Reid. Wear the visor. Do whatever you have to do. You wear the visor. I can hear you clearly.
Let's talk about this then. Let's talk about this, because I got a problem, at least a little bit of a problem. $100,000.
Too much? Too much?
Yes. Really? 100,000, 100 stacks. Here's the thing, Marcellus.
Okay.
You're finding them $100,000 because they can afford it. They can afford it based on their monetary place in society.
Yes.
If you walk into a store that says you got to wear a mask and you're not wearing your mask, you're not finna get slapped with a $100,000 fine.
Yep.
You're not, because of your finances based on your place in society. If the NFL is going to acknowledge, okay, we can hit them for a lick because we know they're making extensive amounts of money, then I just feel like you also have to assess, well, they're making a lot of money because they're in these high-pressure situations. They're in these high-pressure situations because there is a lot at stake. Because there's a lot at stake, that's why every now and then it's like, Rover, blue 19, Rover, blue 19. So that's why I'm just torn on the whole issue. Like, $100,000, I'm just not going to act like that's chump change.
Well, look, if you're torn on that, let me rip it even more to shreds. You know why you walk into Ralph's, and if you don't have your visor on, they say, sir, can you please leave? And that's it. Because you don't work at Ralph's. Guess what? You work at Ralph's, they be looking at that check. Whatever you make, they going to try and slice it. Here's the thing. It has to be excessive, because it has to be a deterrent. You got to send a message to all of the other head coaches out there and any other violators. We not coming to play. We coming deep in your pockets. Matter of fact, hands in both pockets. I was fined one time in my 10-year career. 1998, a headshot to Peyton Manning hit him in the neck area. Yeah, my bad, Peyton. I know you had the surgery later, so I had something to do with that. $10,000, which at that time was a lot. Which at that time, it wasn't like a vicious hit, but they had to send a message. When I ripped open the FedEx, it said, you have been fined. If it had said 100, I'd be like, I'm going to hit him again. 1,000, I'm going to hit him again. But when I saw 10,000, I started to think of all my begging-ass cousins and uncles and nephews.
Let me get some money, Marcel. Let me get some money.
So I'm thinking the fine is more than 10,000 because I know they still need their money, and I got to give up 10,000 to NFL charity, so it has to be a major
Does the punishment fit the crime?
Yes, it does, because think about it. If we compromise this work environment right now, you know what they're going to say upstairs to us? Bruh, it's beyond just the indiscretion. It's the imagery. It's the fact that if we as ambassadors look like we don't care, you know what most people are assuming about everyone else in the facilities, everyone else in that vicinity? They're starting to think that, hey, they ain't tripping over there in the NFL. Too much is at stake for you to be out there lax with the rules. Coming up, Professor Uncle Jimmy is going to give us a show grade. Oh, Lord, you don't want to miss this. Nostradamus is in the building. Speak for yourself. And before we go, where's my mask, Acho? I got to put one on. Let's bring in Uncle Jimmy. What letter grade would you give today's show, Uncle Jimmy?
Yo, Ocho.
What's up?
Remember when you said that you don't like ugly wins?
That's facts.
Yeah, well, that's good, because today your ass got a pretty loss, okay? Hey, Wiley, you know what, man? Let me tell you something, man. I was proud of you today, man.
Why?
You hear what I'm saying?
I am.
You know, hey, I was proud of you today, man. Because, but check this out, Ocho, let me tell you something, man. You got to learn, hold up, because Ocho got to learn the difference between getting clipped, because the Chargers got clipped. The Lakers, they got their ass whipped. Okay? All you did today was spoke facts over feelings. That's fair. Okay? And they didn't like that. You understand what I'm saying? They called LeBron James a lot of things, but they have not called him LeBron Big Game James, because he don't do them kind of things. Literally.
If they lose game 4, Acho will be no more. He ain't coming in here, man.